Hey champs, my name is Megan Pope and I am super excited to come in here and chat with you today. I have grown my business from watching trainings in this page and listening to the National Wake Up Call. So getting the opportunity to share something that's worked for me and share my story with you, I'm just so excited about it. So I'm going to be talking with you today about how to grow your business and reach your goals when life happens, because life is going to happen, right? We can't escape the chaos and all of the other demands that we have placed on us all of the time. And I want to share with you how, with the right mindset and implementing some really, really small steps each day, you can grow your business regardless of what life throws your way. Okay. Couple things. I know this is being shared on Wednesday. It's not live, so I won't be able to answer any of your questions as I go, but drop any questions you have in the comments and I will absolutely follow up as soon as I can. Okay. So let me share a little bit with you about my story and some of the hurdles that I've had to deal with since becoming a coach, and how coaching has, honest to goodness, helped me get through those hurdles and get through those obstacles. And I don't know how I would have managed the last couple years without some of the tools and resources that I learned right here in this community. So I've been a coach for just over 3 years. I absolutely signed up as a discount coach that said I had zero interest in working the business. I said I don't want to hear about it. And this was after I had said no to trying Shakeology, trying a program for probably a year. My husband and I are both marathon runners. My training partner and nanny is my upline coach now, and she was doing this, and I was curious, but I just thought that it wasn't for me. I didn't know anything about it. You know, it's such a testament to, often when people say no, they really have no idea what they're saying no to. And as soon as I took a little bit of time to learn more about the programs and to understand what Shakeology was and how it could simplify my life, I pretty quickly thought, okay, this could be a fit for me. At that time, I had just had my third baby in 3 years. We had moved to a new state. I didn't know anyone. We moved there when I was about 7 months pregnant, and I was just really struggling. My husband had lived out of state at this new, with this new position for about 6 months before the kids and I joined him. We got there, we got settled, had a baby, and this was our first experience with having a NICU baby. And everything just felt harder for me than it had after the other 2 babies were born. And Charlie wasn't in the NICU very long, and it wasn't a major complication by any stretch of the imagination. But for me, I was really, really overwhelmed, and I didn't have anybody to get out and run with, and I couldn't go to CrossFit. That was the other thing that I regularly did, because I had a little guy that had been in the NICU and his immune system had been compromised. And so taking him to daycare at the gym was just not feasible for us. And I could feel myself going into this really dark place, and I was short-tempered, and I was kind of like frustrated with my husband for moving us to a new state and working long hours and me being home with these 3 little ones. And I remember my parents saying to me, like, "Are you okay? You seem really, really stressed out right now." And me feeling like nobody gets it. Nobody understands how hard this is right now. And at the same time, knowing that being a mom and having these 3 babies is all that I'd wanted my entire life. So I was at this, it was just a really hard period. And I know a lot of you moms and parents out there can relate to that, but I needed something for myself. So I called my girlfriend and said, okay, tell me what I need to do. Like, how do I start this? What's the cheapest way for me to start? Sign me up as a coach. and I don't need to know anything about the business. And within 2 weeks, I felt better than I had in 11 months. And I saw the opportunity to share this with people. I know that community can massively change your experience when it comes to health and wellness. I've been in running groups. I was very involved with the CrossFit community, and I loved seeing people from all different walks of life and all backgrounds come together and do something, like, an athletic event. I love that environment. And here I was without any friends, living in a new state. And for the first time, I felt like, oh my gosh, this is a way for me to connect with people. And this is a way that I can show other people who have made comments to me like, oh, you seem to have so much fun with your running group, or, oh, I could never do that. I could show them that they could be a part of a community like that from the comfort of their own home. So it clicked for me. I went from not seeing myself as an active coach and not really understanding the business opportunity to seeing that there was a true need for something like this in those first 2 weeks. And I've hit the ground running ever since then, and I'm so thankful for Beachbody, and I'm thankful that I became a coach, because the last couple years continued to be even crazier than I could ever have anticipated. And I don't know that I would have been able to handle them without the skills that I have learned from coaching. So shortly after I became a coach, we found out that we were expecting our fourth baby. It was not a planned pregnancy. And in fact, when I had my third, due to some prior complications and a uterine tumor removal before I had my first, they strongly advised us from having another child until our third was 36 months. And sometimes God has other plans and things happen, and here I was with a 4-month-old expecting another baby. And I went to that first doctor's appointment, and I was by myself, and the doctor started talking about hoping that I could make it to a 30 to 32 week cesarean hysterectomy, and talking to me about having my family come down to donate blood right before the procedure because I would need blood transfusions, and all these really big conversations. And I remember sitting there and thinking like, oh my gosh, what have I done? I have 3 small babies. Like just kind of starting to spiral. And, a lot of, it was my 4th month of being a coach, my 4th month of Success Club. I was 4th month postpartum, 8th month postpartum, starting to feel like I was kind of getting the hang of this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no one's going to, first of all, I have this massive concern happening with my health and pregnancy and well-being. And then as a secondary concern, or, with several rungs down there, I'm thinking, so I have to say bye to my health and coaching business. Is this going to work for me? And in that one day, I realized that I had to stay active as a coach. I had to lean into the community. I had to continually do my personal development, and I had to work out and fuel my body properly, because living the way that I lived that one day in the lands of all of these what ifs was paralyzing. I froze. I thought, I can't, if God forbid something were to happen, I cannot go down the next 30, 32 weeks with this type of anxiety and fear. So I leaned into my coaching business big time. I showed up every single day. I read my personal development. I shared my story every single day, day in and day out, and had the thought that I can't control what's going to happen when this baby comes, but I'm learning how to be present every day from these amazing, incredible skills and focuses that I'm learning from being a coach. So it really, for me, at that point, changed from coaching as something that, I don't know how to do this, or I don't do I want to do this, to I get to do this. I get to focus my time and energy here in a positive way. And when everything else outside this world happens that I cannot control, this is one little area that I can control, and I can help others, and I get to help others, and I get to serve others. And it became this incredibly positive part of my life. And I've kept that sentiment about coaching. I would say, you know, certainly there are hard days, and there are days that, you know, I miss goals, and I set goals, and it doesn't work out, and you have to pick yourself up. But all in all, I'm able to maintain that outlook of this is something that I get to do. And through all of those hard times, I've been able to lean into this community, and it's lifted me up. It's helped me lift others up, and there's no better feeling in the world than lifting somebody else up and showing them what they're capable of, right? So, you know, the baby came, everything was okay, she was okay, I was okay. I kind of thought maybe we'll get to a little bit of an easier period here. Maybe I'll get the hang of coaching and things will slow down. And shortly thereafter, we found out that we were going to be moving out of state again. My husband basically had to go right away, and I spent a year at home with 4 kids, 4 and under. And again, it would have been an opportunity to walk away from coaching or let it take a back seat. And I don't know if I've mentioned this or not. I still work full time as a market research director. So I spend time doing focus groups and qualitative research. And I didn't get into this, as I've shared with you, with the intention of building a business. It has just kind of happened as a result of a lot of hard work, but it's not been a goal of mine at this point for this to become my full-time job. You know, it's absolutely a side hustle for me, and a side hustle that has brought about so many wonderful things. But I had a lot to balance. And again, it would have been a time that I could have backed off, and I think that my mentor would have understood and my team would have understood if I said, hey guys, I need to pump the brakes a little bit. But again, my anxiety was up. I was trying to do all of the things that 2 parents do. You know, we were used in our household for 2 parents to do with just me. And again, I leaned into this business. I didn't let it become something that was overcomplicating my life or making my life more challenging, but it was the one area of my life where I could expect some consistency and show up every single day and know that I was making a difference. And when you do those vital behaviors like that and you don't let them become something that you have to do, but they are something that you get to do, there's some magic in that. There is some magic. There's a lot of joy, and it grows your business. You know, the vital behaviors are there for a reason. And I think sometimes we really, really overcomplicate things. But at the end of the day, those vital behaviors are what you have to be doing in order to continually move your business forward. And even when the craziest of things happen, you can always be a product of the product. You are in complete control of that. You can always recognize and love on your team and your challengers and shout them out and celebrate their wins. That's such an easy vital behavior for us to live. You know, personal development every single day, no matter if I'm a coach or not, I am doing that for the rest of my life, right? I have been able to make it through some of these challenging moments the last couple years because of personal development. That is the number one thing in my book. And sharing and inviting other people. You guys, I think that when you approach inviting with the mindset of, I am going to document my health and wellness journey, and I remember Rosa said that on a National Wake Up Call a year or so ago. You know, think about your social media as documenting your health and wellness for your own accountability. And my gosh, that spin like that, you don't have to go out and do these cold invites when you are constantly sharing your health and wellness journey and inviting people to join you along the way. It takes the fear out of it, okay? So anyway, we made it to our next state. We all survived, but I wouldn't have survived without being a coach, without being exposed to this community, and without understanding how what an impact these activities have on the big picture, right? Like, yes, I want to continually grow my business and I have really big goals that I would love to hit, but at the end of the day, my life is infinitely better now than it was before I became a coach, because of all of the stuff that I have learned in coaching. Okay, so I think that when it comes to understanding how to forge ahead when life happens, it starts with your mindset. It starts with the way you look at this business. If you are looking at this business as something that you have to do, you have to check into your challenge groups, you have to invite, you have to do your workout, you have that, who wants to do that? That's never fun. That's never exciting. That's never something that you're going to feel really positive about. When you switch have to get, you get to do your workout. You get to invite people to come along with you. You get to do your personal development. I know that seems cheesy, but I promise you that small little change in your perspective there and in the way that you were looking at this, it changes everything, because you're coming from a place of gratitude instead of from a place of resentment, you know? And out of gratitude comes growth. Out of resentment comes stalling and not moving forward and paralysis, okay? So approach your business from a place of gratitude. Your mindset has to be that this is an added bonus to your life, right? That this is going to enhance your life and everyone that you come into contact with. And if you don't believe that, you got to start there. You've got to think back to who you were before you became a coach, before you were a challenger. How has your life massively changed since entering this world? And if it hasn't, then it's time to go back to being a challenger and find your story again. You know, you cannot continue down a path when you don't have that, you know, fire in your belly. So if you've lost it, find it, okay? I do want to share with you some tangible things that you can start doing every single day that have helped me tremendously in terms of being able to make time for this in our busy life. So right now I have 4 kids between the ages of 2 and 6. My husband travels a lot for work. I travel for work. We are 7 months into our newest state. So yeah, life is chaotic, but I think that these 5 steps or tips help me stay focused, help give me a plan of action. You've got to have a plan, and allow me to fit work in pockets of time throughout the day, okay? And some of them, I'll just go through them, okay? So my first tip, and this is huge, you want to be a product of the product first thing in the morning, if at all possible. And I know that you may not be a morning person and that your work schedule may be crazy, or that you were up with the baby all night, or 50,000 other reasons why you cannot be a product of the product first thing in the morning, but you can, okay? That is something you're telling yourself. And for me, getting my workout in first thing in the morning and getting my PD in first thing in the morning, not that I don't find time to do PD later in the day, sets my tone for the day for sure. When I first started coaching, my youngest at the time had a 4 o'clock feeding every night for the probably first 8 months that I was a coach. And by the time we would get done feeding, it would be about 4:30, 4:45. My second was always up by 5:30. And so, yeah, working out from 4:45 to 5:15, 5 o'clock to 5:30 at the time when I'm up nursing multiple times a night seemed miserable. But at the end of the day, that 30 minutes in that little pocket wasn't solving all of my issues. I was still exhausted, but that workout was giving me extra energy. It was lifting my spirits. It was putting me in a place of yes from the morning versus waking up and feeling like I'm coming from a place of lack. I didn't get enough sleep. I'm too tired. I can't do this. So, whatever you got to do to get to bed earlier, move some things around if you can. We're waking up right now at 4:30 to do 80-day obsession because of my husband's work schedule. And, 5:30 sounds better, but 4:30 we get to do it together, and we're making it work. So yes, I love sleep. I don't always get a lot of sleep, but I believe if you can make your workout happen first thing in the morning and make some PD happen in the morning, even if it's while you're unloading the dishwasher, getting the kids ready for school, on your morning commute, I think if you can take at least those elements of being a product of the product. I typically don't drink my Shakeology until later in the day, but if you have it for breakfast, if you use the performance line, it just kind of gets your mind right for the day. I know that seems minor, but I'm telling you, there is a direct correlation between why I've never quit a program and why I've been able to continually work my business. It lines up so well with finishing programs and getting that program in every single day so that your workout never gets scrapped because you haven't invited or you haven't worked your business, and you're then stuck with choosing between, do I work out or do I work my business? So tip number 1, work out in the morning if at all possible, or whatever the beginning of your day is, try to get your workout in there, okay? My next tip, and I survive by this, is working in power pockets. With 4 small kids and a full-time job, it is not super common that I can sit down and work for 1 hour at a time. It's becoming a little bit more possible now that they're a little bit older, but those first couple years, no way. I never could. It didn't work out that way. So I would work in power pockets. I would take a power hour template or write up my own, and there's great resources that you can find, I'm sure, within your team pages. I'm happy to share some of the ones that I lean on. There's suggestions in the COO, but you can find a couple different methods of a power hour that work for you, and then break them up into pockets. We are so guilty of wasting time on social media without even realizing how much time we waste. So write out your list of what you're going to do in the next 30 minutes. I just did one of these live in my team page a couple hours ago. I hopped in there and said, hey guys, I have about 30 minutes to work. My first 10 minutes, I'm going to work on follow-ups. My next 10 minutes, I'm going to work on checking into my challenge groups. And then the last 10 minutes, I am going to be inviting. So I state my intentions, I write them down, whether it's online or if I'm doing it on my own and not streaming, I still have them written out so I can stay focused. I set the timer on my watch and I go. And when that buzzer goes off, I switch to the next thing. I find for me that the more time I have, the more time I can waste. So it is critical for me to get into a flow, use a timer, and make sure that I am working when I have working time or working hours, okay? So don't think you have to have an hour a day. You could work in 2 30-minute pockets. You could work in several 15-minute pockets throughout the day. You can do a lot when you are intentional and focused with your time, okay? My next tip is know what your goals are. Have you thought about what you're pushing for? Have you thought about why you're pushing for it? Have you thought about when you want to hit that goal? At the beginning of every year, I create a vision board, what I want to achieve by the end of the year, but then I break it up into quarterly increments, what I want to achieve that quarter. And it's everything from business related to personal things that I want to accomplish right now, in addition to, hitting a rank goal and a specific income goal with the business. I have decorate this house so it looks like, we've lived here for more than a week. Decorate my kids' bedrooms, so that it's mindful, it's present, what I am working towards, and why I'm working towards them. You know, my Beachbody income is kind of what we pull from to do things like trips to Disney World and decorating their bedrooms. That's when you have a big family, there's lots of extra expenses. So my Beachbody income tends to be where we pull those types of funds from. So, you know, when I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking, I don't really want to start my power hour, and I see an image on my board in front of me of, you know, a Disney cruise ship and a particular room that I saw in a magazine that my daughter and I thought that would be a pretty comforter for her. Those give me motivation. Those remind me why I'm doing this. Those quiet those little voices that say sometimes, you know what, you've worked really hard, you probably could watch Vanderpump Rules. And I think it's important to see those things every day. So if you are just kind of aimlessly thinking like, oh, I would like to be an Emerald coach one day, or I'd like to be a 5-star coach one day, and you're not putting time frames on when you want to hit those goals, and you're not thinking about what types of things you may be able to do, experience, buy, whatever motivates you when you hit those goals, then I think it becomes a little bit difficult to focus on them, okay? And if you don't want to write a vision board or do a vision board, write them down. Tell your success partner, tell your spouse. I remember the first time I told my husband that I wanted to hit elite. He has no idea what that is, but I spoke it to the universe. I put it out there, and it made it real. And the same thing when we went for elite this past year. You know, I really thought it was far removed and that it was a long shot that we would be able to do it again. And when I told one of my mentor coaches that that's what I was working towards, you know, something clicked and it became real. So make sure you say those goals out loud, especially if you have a super duper busy life, which so many of us do. That's life. You know, I feel like sometimes we are in a competition to see who can, you know, out busy one another. I don't know who said that busy people don't have to or don't get to chase dreams, but that's a bunch of crap, okay? And I think that because we have a very busy lifestyle, I have to take some time and think about what I want to achieve, or otherwise it's really easy to explain away why you didn't work for them, okay? Number 4, working from a list is life for me. I have tried every electronic tracking system. I think the last time I talked in the Champs page, I was talking about my electronic business activity tracker. And at the end of the day, still at this point, I'm hoping something might change eventually. I'm a pen and paper gal. I keep coming back to pen and paper, and it works well for me. So find a system that works for you. Perhaps it's electronic, perhaps it's pen and paper, whatever. Do what's best for you. Sorry, I don't know where that here's going. Don't think you have to, I don't know why I get so confused with reflections. Don't think you have to do it the way your coach does it or the way the majority of your team does it. You get to do what works best for you. And what works best for me is list. So I try to go to bed every night with a list of who I'm going to be talking to the next morning. That is everybody from, if I need to follow up with coaches on my team, they're on a piece of paper. If I need to follow up with new challenges, they're on this piece of paper. If I have follow-up conversations from prospects that are about to purchase and ready to purchase, they're on that piece of paper. And I also write down the new people that I plan to invite the next day. Now, that number, it shifts depending on where it is in the month, where I am in my business. You know, I'm probably inviting less people some days than others, but I still have a formula and I have a plan every night so that when I go to bed I wake up the next morning, I don't spend time scrolling and trying to figure out where to start. It takes a couple minutes the night before, but it saves you so much time the next morning. So make a list, work from a list, know who you are speaking to so that you can wake up and you can go. Okay, let's see here. And then lastly, you guys, and this is so huge, I want you to ask for help. Okay, I want you to know that it's okay to have really big goals and really big dreams. And it's okay to want to build an incredible business. And sometimes that means that you need to ask for help. And what I mean by that is I have never shied away from finding a time to work my business, even though I have 4 children and I have a full-time job. So sometimes that means getting a babysitter for an hour so that I can have some focused working time to put towards my coaching business. Sometimes that's asking one of our parents to help out with the kids so I can watch or I can work the business. Sometimes it's telling my husband, you know, hey, I need an hour of time this weekend so that I can spend some focused time on here. I think that's for whatever reason, there's this thought or notion that because this is something that we do from home and we do as a side business and it's non-traditional, that we're just supposed to wing it all the time and figure it out. And I don't believe that. I think that it's perfectly okay to ask for help and to set expectations with your partner or with yourself. And if you know that you need some focused time so that you can have that hour of uninterrupted time a week, ask for it. Don't feel like it's not deserved. Don't feel like you shouldn't get it. But be willing to ask for help. You have to own your dreams. You have to be willing to work for them. And there's nothing to be ashamed about for having a non-traditional business and still finding a way to make it work. And I see so many coaches saying that they don't have time to work this business, and they did this business because they want to be home with their kids, and it becomes this like terrible push pull, you know. So whether it's asking for help or just setting business hours that you're working during nap time, or that you stop watching a favorite show if for whatever reason you don't have somebody to ask help from, find a way. Okay, there is a way to give yourself some of that time that you need to really give this the intention that it deserves. Okay, so those are my tips on how to show up when life happens and how to make this business something that enhances your life during the hard moments. And I think about it this way. You know, over the last 3 years since I've been a coach, we've lived in 2 states. I've had 2 postpartum experiences, 1 pregnancy, the loss of a parent. My husband has started a new job. So, you know, some of the most massively stressful things that ever happened at life have happened multiple times in the last couple years. Yet I'm able to look back and know that I survived each of those experiences in a way that I have no doubt in my body, no doubt at all, that had I gone through those situations and experiences prior to becoming a coach, that my ability to deal and to cope would not be what it was. I'm certain of that. I know that in my core. So, you know, you gotta get to that place where you know and you believe with everything that you have that this is really and truly something that you get to do, and it helps you manage your stressful seasons better than you would have without it. Okay. Like I said, I am so happy to answer any questions that you have. Drop them in the comments. I hope that you got something from this today, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. See ya.